Hey everyone, welcome to Rise Up and Heal with Annie. Today, I am incredibly honored to have Scott Woehrer with us today. Scott is the author of Good Morning, My Queen: How to Keep Up with Your Spiritually Evolving Partner Before You Lose Her Forever. Today is going to be a really interesting conversation. So, welcome, Scott, to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. Can you please share your story with the listeners?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. And my story, at least the part that's relevant to the book, I'll share. I've been in this relationship with Maria for 7 years, which we would call a divine union. We also use the term twin flames. And basically, for people who aren't familiar with those terms, we can talk about them. But basically, it's about having a conscious relationship, and which anyone can do. And it's when you stop accepting the things in your relationship that rub you wrong, that you that just aren't right, but you don't know how to get at them, whether it's in you or your partner or both. And it's about getting conscious to them and figuring them out and healing yourself with a lot of self-love. So my part of that story is I walked through that fire because it's not an easy relationship. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it is not. When people are twin flames, particularly, they tend to reflect each other, which means each other's issues. Not all the love and light. It's the shadows, actually. And shadows aren't negative. They're just those things that happened to us in childhood that we buried, we separated, we sort of cleaved off of ourselves, parts of ourselves. We became fractalized. And the idea is to love those parts back to you. Now, I don't know how that sounds. It sound airy fairy or lovey dovey. People like, I don't know, that sounds a little touchy feely, or. Um, but the fact is, and this is it's just because you're not used to it. If you feel that way, I will say it's just because you're not used to it. You weren't taught this. We weren't taught this as boys growing up, as young men growing up. We were taught generally to suppress our feelings, don't cry. Your opinion doesn't matter. Do as you're told. Do as I say, not as I do. And you know, and then you end up one day, like that song says, is this my beautiful house? Is this my beautiful wife? You wake up and you look around, you're like, how did I get here? And how do I get out? Most importantly, when I say get out, I don't mean leaving loved ones necessarily. I mean, um, you know, I I feel like someone's standing on my neck to get, for me to pay my mortgage payment and all these bills and insurance and all these problems in the world and the stress I've got. Well, I have found, and this is backed up by Carl Jung and years of psychology and spiritual work, new age, if you want to call it that. Um, there are so many benefits for a man to get out of his relationship by devoting himself to the relationship and using it in essence to better yourself, because your partner will show you where you're screwing up. And I say screwing up, that's not a judgment. That just means you're out of alignment with your true self. If we can all agree, our goal is to, in the best and the highest and best levels, is to be who we are, right? Not do what Scott says, not do what I say, not do what your girlfriend says, not your wife, not do what your friends say, your parents say. To learn to listen to your heart, to learn to listen to the soul in you, the voice which does speak in the form of intuition. Your intuition is your soul nudging you, trying to nudge you. Okay. But you have to do one thing, and that is quiet the egoic mind to hear that, to sense that and feel that. Okay. Who says this stuff to men? Um, you know, we talked about this a little bit before we went on air. I've started a men's group, and I started other men's groups when I lived in other places, and I recommend in the book, don't wait to be invited to a men's group. Start your own men's group, please. Men out there need to talk in safety with no judgment. In fact, they're lonely a lot of times, and they could use some new friends. We all could. After a certain age, you tend to stop making them. And so when we do that, we normalize men talking about their feelings. Let me tell you, our feelings have been hurt. And they typically now are, we feel the most hurt by our partner. Well, guess what? I'm going to help you get over the hump on these issues. And the book helps you. And you're going to want to do it for a couple reasons, to heal yourself, but also she's going to be very pleased to see her man is doing the work. We call this doing the work. Doing the work means anytime you feel insecure about something, figure that stuff out, explore that. Hey, hold on. I was at this party and my partner, she just left me alone. I don't know these people, and she knows I don't, and that person in that scenario I made up uh, is feeling abandoned. Well, how great would it be for you to look at why you feel abandoned? Because the fact is, she hasn't abandoned you; she's still in the same vicinity. But when we were younger, all kinds of things happened to us. Now, some things are more overt abuse, and other things, someone might say, well, I haven't had it as bad as that person. Hey, it was bad for you when you were a kid. It was very easy to feel lonely, abandoned. And the last person people you want to be abandoned by are your parents, because they're your main link to life. um, and a lot of us had parents who they say that we are most affected by our parents' unmet dreams.
Okay, that's
So
interesting.
yeah, so they're working through us, using us to realize unresolved things in themselves. And they're not really going, well, Scott, what do you think? What do you think about this? Or Scott, do you think we should move and go to this, or should we, no one asked me anything. They just moved. Yeah.
Yeah,
um, nobody cared because they were taught that kids, should be seen and not heard. And
absolutely.
yeah, so we got to wake all this up. We have to take responsibility for this and reparent ourselves.
Yeah,
We got to normalize this kind of conversation. Reparenting ourselves is so valuable. There's so many ways to do it. I recommend getting therapy. If you need it, get it. See if your insurance covers it. Go for it. It is so helpful to have someone on your side that you can just vent to, because you shouldn't vent everything to your partner. You got to stop that now.
yeah,
Um, you got it, because it's called trauma dumping. And a lot of times we're doing it without being conscious. We're just on a stream. We're just, and we almost like wake up from a dream. What did I do? Well, you trauma dumped on me for the last 20 minutes. Do that with your therapist. Okay. They will sort it out, organize it, work it out, and reflect back to you what's possible, the healing that's possible, and help you heal. And that is
yeah.
a beautiful thing. So
It
that's real power.
That it really is. And it's so important, like when you are in therapy, just to be completely honest and just
Mm-hmm.
honestly really peel back the layers. And you said it before, Scott, when you were saying like about really facing those shadows within yourself. When you go in and you're seeking a therapist, or you're seeing a therapist, I should say, you really do absolutely have that opportunity to basically peel back those layers and face the monster within you, because we've all got those shadows. And it
A
really
dragon to
is
slay.
the dragon. That's it. I call it kiss the dragon. You get that dragon and you kiss
Oh,
that
that's good.
dragon. Yeah. And love the
I'm gonna use that.
dragon. Well, because it is so important
That's a
to
good title for a
love
book.
all of yourself. There you go.
You got to write that. You got to write that.
Kiss your
Kiss the
dragon.
dragon, or how to kiss the
Kiss the
dragon. Yeah,
dragon. Okay. Oh, I like that
and
one
then
actually.
a good subtitle that sort of explains it
Yeah.
and supports it.
Yeah, because it is. We all have parts about ourselves that we don't like. We've all done things in our life that we are not proud of.
Yeah,
And there are just so many facets of ourselves. But I mean, that's a beautiful thing, because we're human beings. So there are so many layers upon layers. So I think it's really, really important to absolutely be completely honest and bring out the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just bring it all to the surface and really, really talk about that. So I'm really
Yeah.
glad that you did talk about doing the shadow work and seeking the therapist, because that is something that I really always advocate to my clients and also to the listeners, is to honestly, I think going and speaking with somebody, like you said, besides your partner, where you can truly bring everything out rather than trauma dumping, is so imperative.
And there's also the holistic healers that you can find at your local
Yes.
metaphysical store. If you type in metaphysical on your maps and see what stores are around, you go there. You might get some QHHT, some quantum healing, some past life regression, Reiki, and it's holistic, which means mind, body, and spirit is all taken into account. And it's really quite lovely, and you learn a lot.
Oh, you do, because there's so much to it. And I even know from my own journey, and I'm sure you've been the same. Like it hasn't just been a therapist that you've seen. Like you've been going and seeing holistic healers yourself. Because I know I've done that too. And that's what also really helps, I feel, bring you into alignment, because it's that whole mind, body, soul. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So,
Yeah, you
yeah,
just reminded me. It's so important to be humble in this process. Just and especially for us guys, I'm going to say you don't know what you don't know. There are
yeah,
things that are irritating your partner, and you don't even know it, and she hasn't told you, or she has, and you don't know how to stop them. You don't know why you do it, and whether you have an anger issue or whatever it is, or jealousy, or this or that. Get curious. It's like that line in what's it called? Will Sasso, that Apple TV show about the American who goes to coach football in England.
don't know it.
Oh, it's on Apple TV, and he says there's a quote. He quotes Walt Whitman, which he saw it spray painted on a building. It said, "Be curious, not judgmental."
Yeah, yeah,
Do that with yourself. Love yourself enough, even if you don't know how. I don't know how to love myself. Love yourself enough at least to say, I'm going to be curious and not judgmental. Because
yeah,
judgmental is fear, the opposite of love. And you want to bring love to this process. And
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then when you get a little more advanced, you can start doing some of the mirror exercises, like staring at yourself in a mirror for 5 minutes and loving on yourself in that situation, or start with just a minute or two. That is awesome. And you can say you did it to yourself because it's hard. It's not easy the first
absolutely.
time.
It is
Yeah.
so hard. And I actually, so Louise Hay taught me that. And that's probably one of the first things she does, is she talks about to stop. And number one
Yeah.
is stop criticizing yourself. And
Oh
then
yeah.
also the mirror work, because mirror work is so transformational, because you can't lie to yourself in the mirror. So you really
No.
cannot. Like it's a really confronting, but a very powerful transformative tool to
It
use.
is
Absolutely.
is Louise Hay and Hay House popular there where you are?
Yes, yes. Well, I'm actually licensed to run her workshops and teach her
Oh,
work. So that's what I do.
I didn't get to meet her before she passed, but when I published and edited a spiritual magazine, a metaphysical magazine called Radiance,
Yeah,
after a while I saw it was more cost advantageous for me to deliver it myself. So I would drive Southern California. I had traffic is ridiculous, so I drove overnight. But when I went to her offices in Carlsbad,
yeah.
I would bring a stack of magazines and put them on the table there in their foyer, in their front office. And I got to know the lady who ran the office, and they would give me so many free books. In fact, I showed you some books over here. I got them all for free from them. They had these surpluses, boxes and boxes of surplus, and I would get to go through them. And yeah, that was fun. That was a nice little adventure.
Yeah.
Um, but her ashes were actually in the plant that's potted plant that's in the front office
That's
there.
so
Her ashes are
cool.
in there.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
so cool.
the lady who runs her front office won her little car, a little mini, what do they call the mini? Whatchamacallit?
Cooper?
The
No?
mini car, the made by BMW, the nice little. Anyway,
No.
so she won it. So she's driving Louise's car.
That is awesome. That is
uh,
so awesome. Yeah, she's been
and
absolutely instrumental in my healing, Louise Hay. Absolutely instrumental.
I'll tell you what else I did. I would bring psychics with me because I know a lot of healers and psychics.
Mm.
They would come with me to make these deliveries. And this is when Deepak Chopra's place was down there
Yes.
also. She had a beautiful place, which unfortunately had to close. And I guess he's back in New York. Um, and I would go on social media and show. And I basically I'd go in with the psychics and I'd say to the staff before when they were still there before the pandemic, I'd say, "Would you like to get a reading?" What do you mean a reading? And like some people be like, "Oh no, no." And I thought, "Wow, you work here," and you know. But most people were very welcoming. They'd go away into an office and come out crying sometimes.
Wow.
But that was a fun little thing I did. I
That's
called
so
it
cool.
a wait spiritual. I called it a spiritual hub crawl.
I love that. That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, had great conversation the whole way. It was
Oh,
great. It was fun.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
an adult field trip.
Yeah. That would just be so awesome to do that. Like, just, yeah. Because the psychics, the mediums are absolutely incredible with how in tune they are and what they share. And honestly, I have
And any of
seen
us can
quite a
do it.
few.
We
Yes, yeah, we
yeah.
can. Yeah, it really is channeling and I think this is the other thing like you were saying before about really listening to that intuition. Like it is so important to really follow and just really learn to develop that because honestly, our intuitions
Yeah.
never lead us astray. And we have lived in a society where that has been really sort of suppressed within us, especially for the male population.
Well, let me just say, I'm thinking, okay, well, if we could just remember that, I'll follow my intuition, but we forget. We go back
Mm,
to sleep in our
mm,
day. We wake up a couple hours later. Oh my God, I was not even conscious for the last 2 hours. I mean, I did things in
yeah,
the office. I drove my car, but I was not awake.
yeah,
Okay. So when I suggest to men, you know, get curious about what's going on with you, get humble about it, and be conscious so that you don't say things you don't want to say. Um, you're in the right space. So the goal is to be conscious all day, to
yeah,
never fall asleep again. Because doesn't it, if you think about it, okay, the soul is gently speaking and nudging us as intuition, which we do use. We
yeah,
say, you know what, I'm not going to buy what that salesman is selling. Something about it isn't working for me, or I should run this errand instead of that one first because something's just telling me to do that. Too often we don't listen to that because there seems to be a more convenient way to do things, which our ego is telling us, come on, don't you want to do this fast? Don't you want to get home before your TV program starts or whatever? If you devote your life to yourself, devote your life to what your soul is telling you, you won't get on your deathbed at the age of whatever and look back and go, oh, why didn't I love more freely? Why didn't I explore myself more? Why wasn't I kinder to myself, show empathy and to myself so that I could heal and be more free and do things I love? I was told by my parents making money you can't make money as a musician, so you're going to be a stockbroker or whatever. Man, if you're born a rose, do not try to be a carnation. Okay, you're a
very
rose.
true. You're a
So,
rose.
and most men lead lives of quiet desperation because they're not doing what they came here to do, and that is one of the biggest problems in this world. And that's why one of the reasons men can desensitize themselves because if they've desensitized themselves to the point where they're not following their true north and they've got it all scrambled up and they're doing what they think they should do, what their buddies are doing, or their fellow tech bros, or whatever, or the people they're listening to on podcasts. It's like, stop. External stuff does not matter. Okay. Whether people give you a lot of compliments or a lot of insults, none of that matters. Okay. What only matters is that we are centered in our beingness and being who we are meant to be. Yeah, and doing will come from being, but too many people do for. They go, I want to have a lot of money, so I'm going to do these things to get money, and then I will be rich. Instead of the other way around, which is I'm going to be my best authentic self, and then I will do the things that come authentically to me, and I will have everything I need.
Yeah,
Whereas people
100%.
start with the have, I want a lot of money, I want stacks of money. It's like, so your soul is in control of your journey. We call it the higher self sometimes. So the soul's
Yeah,
in here and directing things, directing us. A lot of times we can't see that until we look back. You go, oh
yeah,
my God, I could. Isn't it interesting how things worked out? I didn't stay
yeah,
with that person, but that allowed me to meet that person, or I got fired from that job, but that allowed me to get this better job. I can see it all now in hindsight. Well, that's because your path in life is not paved. It is not paved, but the paved ones don't have flowers. Yours have flowers on it. Okay. It's unpaved. You're not supposed to follow someone else's path. You have your own path. And if you got self esteem issues, like you don't think you deserve a path or deserve to be divine, I'm here to tell you, you do. It's your birthright, in fact. It's your
yeah,
absolute birthright.
absolutely. Yeah,
And you've read enough memes on Facebook to know that you're made of the stuff of stars and all that stuff. Well, really take that in, absorb that in your meditations and embody it. Otherwise, you're just talking.
yeah.
So, and anyway, I hope what I'm saying is I might be going in circles a little bit. I'll hand it back to you.
No, I think you're doing really well. And I think it's really like what you're saying is it's so true. And I really hope that for everybody who is listening will absolutely go and take on board everything that you have shared today and really go and get in touch with their inner selves because it is so imperative to heal within here because everything within here is a reflection on the outside. So if stuff isn't really working on the outside, then we really need to address what's going
and
on the inside.
and she probably knows what your stuff is, okay? Your
Mm,
partner,
yeah,
and she will notice when you start to heal yourself. And let me give one example. I'm gonna go for it here, okay?
go for it.
Um, all right, pornography.
Mhm.
It's normalized here in the States for sure and around the world. And a lot of people even allow it into their relationships, even if one person's doing it and the other person just sort of allows it, or or maybe they're both doing it. Now I'm going to say that if you want to do it, I'm not judging you. You do it, um, and I'm going to suggest something else. I'm going to suggest just as women are looking for men to be leaders, they're looking for them to lead. And men might say, I don't know, where am I leading to? I mean, we're having a good time. Isn't that enough? I'm going to say this. This is an area where if you take this on and you read my book, you read the chapter and the part on pornography that I write, it's you know, it's sort of like if you believe in energy, and if you're watching this podcast, they got to believe in energy. We are made of energy. Okay,
Yeah,
everything's energy. You sit in front of a computer watching a bunch of crazy stuff, and then you get into your bed with your partner. That's sort of like jumping in a dirty lake and not taking a shower before you get into bed.
yeah,
Okay. And let me tell you, she feels it. And here's where the leadership suggestion comes in. If you embody these things, if you believe these things and you're ready to do this, you can say, you know what? I'm ready to give this up. I'm ready to put this to the side and devote that sexual energy into you, into the relationship. And if you want to really get into it, there's a lot of things men can do with their sexual energy to manifest things in their life. If you Google that, you'll find a lot on that. But just to say, I love you and you are my queen and I want to be your king. And I want you to call me your king without me prompting you. So I want to do kingly things. And
yeah,
one of those things would be eliminating that from your diet, your online diet, and saying to her, I would like to lead us out of this area of our relationship and I want to be closer with you. I want to be more intimate with you, and I want to free us of these things. That's a suggestion of mine. It's so nice to not have that. I had it in my life. It's so nice to not have it in my life. It's so nice to be free of those things. Um, Again,
Yeah.
no judgment, but it's a good suggestion. Let me tell you, the rewards you get from your partner are amazing. Okay. And there are other things that happen to your brain, I think, when you stop it and then you just be with the human being, um, that are amazing that you will notice. You will notice.
It brings you right into that present moment because when you are being really present and you are so actively and consciously present, then you really feel that energy around
You
you.
do.
Like you really, really feel it. So, that's why it's so important. And especially, I think the more that you get to know who you are, the more inner
Mm-hmm.
confidence that brings, and the more present you become. And it's really incredible to absolutely watch that evolve, not only within yourself, but with the loved ones and that around you, because you're bringing that and you're sort of like leveling it up to here, and they're coming up and they're matching you as well. It really is. It's an amazing experience.
You know, I thought making Maria happy was all I was supposed to do. And so in the first year of our relationship, which surprised the heck out of me, that we fell in love 7 years ago, um, I wanted things to be good everywhere. I wanted to make sure she always had what she needed. Da, da, da. But what I was doing was not authentic. I was pleasing her. And I think that might be a narcissistic trait. I know of other narcissistic traits, but that I'm not sure about that one. But it's, I think it is. It is insidious. And when I realized I was doing it, I'm like, whoa, this was big, but it was very hard to see at first because it was so much a part of who I was. Because I people pleased in childhood, so I wouldn't get in
Yeah,
trouble,
yeah.
and we all have our coping mechanisms for our parents and other authority figures. And that was one of them. Hiding pornography in the shadows was another one that started during that time, and that's why it's hard, not just because of the years and decades of repetitive practices of doing this with a lot of men have, but its tail reaches all the way into the shadows of childhood because we were curious about it. We looked for magazines. Our friends had magazines. Our fathers had magazines. My age group, and even bringing it up was difficult to even face. Like, well, I don't think this is an issue. How can it not be an issue? How can it not affect the purity of your
Absolutely.
relationship, of your divine union? It does. Let me tell you, you get free of a lot of stuff
Yeah.
when you give it up. Hey, give up drinking while you're at it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, Mr.
Yeah.
Scott, where can people purchase your book, Good Morning, My Queen?
Go to Amazon. Right now it's only an ebook, so you can read it in 2 minutes on your
Beautiful.
Kindle on
Okay,
your phone.
perfect.
And also, if I'm on Substack, I write essays on Substack. So if you think I might have something interesting to say there, check it out. You have to catch my name there. It's a little difficult, a little challenging.
That's all right.
I recommend you go on Substack.
I will. I absolutely
Check it
will.
out.
Thank you. And what I'll
Sure.
do is I'll put the link of your book when
Okay.
I go and put this out. So
Awesome.
everybody can click on that link. And also I'll put the link for Substack as well. So everybody can also click on that. So thank you so, so much for being a
Thank you.
part of this today. Like, honestly, I just truly appreciate everything that you're doing and the work that you do, because
Thank you.
it is so important that men are being advocated for, and that they also have this opportunity to know that they are not alone and that healing is imperative. And I really do hope that they go and do that too.
And healing is normal.
Yeah,
It's not weird. It's just
no,
different for us. It's a little intimate. Um, Somebody cleverly put intimacy. They break it down of into me I see.
Wow, I like that. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So you can't be intimate, truly intimate with someone. And it's not just about getting naked with them in bed. Intimacy usually doesn't involve, I mean, it mostly not in bed. It's how you connect with your partner and how you connect with yourself. Into me, I see. And the more you see in yourself, the more you heal here, she's going to love you for it. Oh my goodness. She's because
Mm.
women want to be safe in a relationship.
Yeah,
I protect her. No, they want to feel safe from you. They want to
yeah,
make sure your anger issues aren't going to come up. They want to make sure you're not just going to be on the computer all night or spending your money on online gambling or whatever else. Come on, let's get real. Let's face these things. Let's get curious about them, not judgmental. Don't beat yourself up. We all have stuff. We all have had it. We all have it. But just get curious. That is my empowering message to you. Okay. It's up to you. No one's going to do it for you. People are going to feel the effects of it, positive or negative. So you might as well make it positive, take control of it, and live
absolutely.
your best life.
100%, 100%. Thank you so much. And again,
Yeah.
thank you so much to everybody who's listening to this podcast. Again, I will absolutely put the link in there for Scott's book of Good Morning, My Queen. I really recommend for everybody to go and read this book because it truly is, well, I was going to say eye-opening, but I also, which it is, but I also, because I already, like, I know some of the stuff from the things I've learned, but it really does get you thinking about things. And there have been quite a few,
Good.
like, aha moments where I'm like, oh, so I really want to thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you for that. So, again, everybody, thank you so much. Again, I'll put in the links for Scott's book, and thank you all very much for listening today, and we will touch base soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Be well.